The Bible tells us that the Spirit of Jesus is the Spirit of prophecy. And if we think about the Spirit of Jesus being the voice of Jesus, so we understand that the voice of Jesus is the voice of prophecy. So when we hear from Holy Spirit, it's going to be very similar to how those who are prophetically gifted hear from God as well. And it's God who teaches us and guides us and leads us into His truth. So, with all of this, with all of journeying with God's voice and journeying with the Spirit of God, the eventual destination is to actually move into the truth of God and to become more free. So, sometimes people hear an audible voice of God, and this may be something that is extremely rare, and many of you listening to this and watching this may be thinking, is it really possible to hear the voice of God, the actual audible voice of God, as if it is another voice speaking? Because the audible voice of God is the mechanics of how it works is very, very similar to how the other spiritual senses work. So God's Spirit has taken something from the very deep parts of God, revealed it to our spirit, and then our spirit relays that to our physical senses. So when we think of hearing the audible voice of God, we need to get into the thoughts of actually this is me perceiving the Spirit of God and what the Spirit of God is saying through an audible sensory experience. Some people may experience God through other senses, such as the sense of smell. So, some people will recognize the voice of God or the presence of God through discerning certain scents, certain smells that are in the room, certain fragrances. I know some people who say that the presence of Jesus to them is conveyed through the smell of fuchsias. Other people, it's the smell of a sort of a fresh spring smell. And for others, it's a woody, oaky smell. And all these smells, when you look into them in the language of the Spirit, they actually convey something of the nature and the heart of God. So these people are all attuned and all aligned at certain points in their life to certain aspects of God's character. And that's how they're growing in their spirit and in their heart. And when they sense the presence of Jesus and their spirit resonates with their being and conveys that through the sense of smell, they attune their hearts deeper into the presence of God. So all of these spiritual senses are designed to actually draw us deeper into the presence of God, to draw us deeper into communion with Him, as opposed to a sign and a wonder of how amazing our gifts are, or a sign and a wonder of how close somebody is to God. That's not the point. And it's not the case, because all these things are gifts, and it's just different ways in which our body responds. You can think of it in terms of, as you look around you, as you walk through the street, you'll notice some people have to wear glasses. Some people have other things that help them to navigate through the world. Some people have hearing aids, and all these things are good, but it just shows you that some people are naturally, their senses are naturally more developed or naturally hindered, and so they need help to be able to see fully. And with these things, with the senses of the spirit, some people are more developed in certain senses, and other people aren't as developed. But it's not a measure of how close somebody is to God. It's a measure of how where their strengths are in discerning the spirit realm, and that's all it is really. So with time and with the right tools and the right heavenly equipment, shall we say, people can begin to put those glasses on, spiritually speaking, and see more clearly, or wear that spiritual hearing aid and learn how to perceive the voice of God. And that's basically what you'll be attaining through some of these courses here, is learning how to attune yourself into that voice of God, learn what equipment you need from heaven to be able to help you go deeper into the voice of God and develop that recognition of what He's saying to you and how you respond and hear Him.